valued. I've got to, I've got to create something. And it was never coming from a spiritual completeness. It was coming from that void of emptiness. And you were trying to create something from your heart out of basically a vibration of lack and fear. And a lot of us have just gotten to the point in our journey where we're exhausted. And I know I've been kind of going through this for years, where it's just like I lack the motivation to be fear driven. I still take a look at certain things I have to do, and I'm like, wow, I wish I was afraid of that. I wish I was more worried about my mortgage. I wish I was more concerned about this, but you're just not. And what's left is, I'm gonna have everybody turn Wi-Fi off. What's left is almost like a void feeling or a depression and uncertainty without necessarily any motivation or fuel to figure things out. Boredom mixed with terror sometimes, right? And all of the in between. You can have a high day mixed with a low day. You can have a really good manifestation. You can have, then you can have a really negative one show up. And this could be just a 7-day period, and depending on where you are allowing yourself to go through this is going to be the speed and the space. So we use time metaphysically to decide, choose, and discern from our point of awareness. So if things take a lot of time, it's because your awareness isn't where it should be for yourself. If things are taking a long time, okay, because we use our awareness to act. Okay. And we're no longer acting on instinct of fear. We're no longer acting on that primitive addiction that we created to survive. So you're noticing time differently, right? That hurry up and wait energy is now just, I don't know what to do, especially when I'm constantly telling you, don't take action in physical reality. And you're like, oh, what do I do? Because you'll saturate yourself with the feeling of abundance and prosperity, and then your body will have that instinct to move. Okay, well, let's go buy that car, let's go buy that house, and you have to literally be like, well, we haven't actually become that many yet, but we feel it on such a visceral level. It's ours, but I literally can't go and do that right now. And so you're just like, sitting there like, what do I do? Froze, right? And so you're going to get back to basics. And this is what would have happened if the world would have gone into a huge apocalyptic state. We would have gone back to basics. So there's nothing wrong with going back to basics. And so what I want to do today is I want to teach you how to deliberately go back to basics to bring awareness, okay, and space to parts of you that are sitting in unawareness, sitting in pain, sitting in trauma, sitting in loss, sitting in fear that you haven't integrated yet. And I have been teaching time travel for years, okay? Time travel is the idea that whenever you have a traumatic experience or a situation occur, the part of you that cannot handle what is happening splits away from you, kind of like a broken glass, and looking at the traumatic pieces of your life where you're still, if I put you all together and glued you together, you'd still be that vase, but separately you're shards of glass, and some of them are so microscopic that, it doesn't matter. Like, it seems like it doesn't matter. Well, we've spent probably the last 5 or 6 years finding those big pieces. And now we are looking for the shreds. Okay. The shreds are part of your consciousness that was basically fractaled or fractioned away from you your first 7 years. Okay. So this is going to be where you are the most connected to source and you can do the least with it. All right. So when you are 0 to 5, okay, you are in that deliberate share, not desire. You are not in a state of desire. You are in a state of, I want to share. I want to share. I want to share. I want you to share. I want you to share. I want you to share. I want to share what I know. I want to share what I can do. I want to share my generosity. I want to share my cookie. I want to share my talent. Mom, look at what I can do, right? And in return, the things that I don't think I possess, I would like for you to share that with me. I would like that toy store to share that toy with me. I would like mom to share that time with me. Okay, so we are not in a state of desire. We are in a state of share, which is our natural state as spirit. We are source energy, and all we want to do is give it away and get what we came inherently limited to, so we could have that puzzle experience, which means that I might be limited in an area that Donna is abundant. And therefore, if her and I meet, we will feel complete together. I will not want what she can do professionally or emotionally, and she will not want to do what I do, because that's what we do together. We make that whole. And that's what we thought that parent-child relationship was going to look like when we got down here. Or at least we assumed that it would work itself out, because, you know, we're source energy. But we also came to play the de-ascension, re-ascension game. So we had to fall from grace and play that virtual reality game of original sin, which is I'm guilty by default of whatever origin story is on the planet, aka Adam and Eve. And therefore I am punished for my curiosity. I am punished for my disobedience. I am punished, basically. And I move away from that solid force that I am. When at 2 years old, I could cry and get my needs met. And now at 5, it's not working, right? It's like, you know, I'm losing that new baby smell almost. And so I'm dropping in the food chain, especially if I'm having other siblings be born, or if I happen to be following the rules, I might disappear all the way. You know, the squeaky wheel gets the attention in your family. So the sick child, the loud child, the rebellious child, the ornery child. Okay. And this is why I'm doing my session in this freaking kitchen today, is because I've got 2 ornery children in here that just want attention, basically. And so therefore I'm giving them my attention. They can hear my voice, they can sleep all day. And that's all they want. They just want to be next to you. And so it's interesting raising brother and sister puppies, because you can see the dynamic of the masculine and feminine weaknesses and strengths within them. Now I know why I got them. It's a very expensive lesson, but here we are. So ultimately, what I want to do today is I want to take you through a time travel sequence that is specifically designed to help accelerate your egoic integration. I don't like to say ego death, because ego is not going to die. Ego is going to integrate into the me, myself, and I into a unified being, which means the me, myself, and I will all have the same vibration, the same desire, the same purpose. It will be like a really amazing company, right? And if you look at how creation is manifested, it is created through the 369 triangle experience, which is thought, okay, feeling. The feeling creates a mood. From the mood, you're going to take action. That's going to be your behavior. Your behavior is going to help you manifest your reality. So if you're behaving in fear, you're reacting in fear, you're manifesting a fear-based reality. If you are having a bad mood, then I can guarantee that that behavior is going to be either, number one, to make you feel better through some sort of action, eating, talking, venting, taking something physical to make this inner self feel better, or you're going to sit with your own mood through the awareness of the inner consciousness, and you can change the mood there. And that's why I'm always saying, don't take action in physical reality. If you are in a bad mood, if you are worried, if you are stressed, or if you're in fear, if you're angry, because as soon as you take action, you are with your free will saying yes to the simulation. Okay, 100%. Even if you just call someone and vent, even if you just gossip for a minute, okay, if you do not keep it completely with yourself and work out the lower vibration that turned into a mood internally, not only will you set this simulation in motion with your own free will and choice, but you are also generating karma, because the karma is taking action in physical reality against yourself, even if you're taking action against someone else. So you're making it worse when you react. What we want to get to that point is we have enough self-awareness that we are responding to our mood. The observer within is responding. What mood am I in? Okay. Oh, it's PMS. Okay, that's a collective mood. Ladies, we're all feeling this. So instead of running out and burning my bra and setting men on fire, I think maybe this is a good time for me to work through some grief work, right? Or do some somatic anger releasing, or do some breath work, or count my blessings as far as my body being vital. I mean, there's a million proactive, intuitive steps we could take to utilize the bad mood for our own benefit, which means we're using time and space to heal, or we use time and space to avoid, or time and space to create a bigger problem, or to get more people involved. But ultimately, the responsibility, ability to respond, is on you. Is as soon as you step out of that triangle, you are acting on that script. Okay. And as soon as you have a behavior, being the lie, acting out the belief, then you are responsible for your actions, no matter what. No matter what. Okay. So this is why, if we can stay within, remember, everything is going to happen within. This is why this symbology of the metamorphosis is right in front of you. The cocoon is where you do all of your work. All right. The butterfly has its wings before it leaves the cocoon. And the caterpillar does not die in the world. It dies in the cocoon. Okay. That's the symbology of your egoic, soul imprinted reality of who you believe you are when you step into the cocoon. Now, the cocoon is where your motivation changes, your desires changes. You kind of put down old addictions because it just doesn't bring you joy or peace anymore. You start getting rid of toxic people. So if this is your world right now, you are in your metaphorical cocoon. And so you have this opportunity that you have been working with the entire universe to keep you safe in there. So even though you may not feel safe right now, because there's no certainties, you don't have fear-based motivation to go to work, you're not really showing up for people the way you think you should be, you are literally being divinely protected. Okay, this is why, like, the more you get into your cocoon, the less people start to say about you. It's almost like there's this idea in Christianity that God will create invisibility around you when you are going through your time. Okay. And so it's like when you were in your mother's womb, everybody knew you were in there, but nobody was like, well, let's see if she's real. Come on, bring her out. There was that unspoken reality of she's in there or he's in there, but that's where she's going to stay. And so in order for us to move and shift from realities to our heaven-based reality, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, Earth is hell. 100%. It's the collective world here of the old paradigm of that Adam and Eve game. Remember, guilty by association is literally every year in our masterclass, I always pick a movie that tends to be the exact metaphor of what we're learning this year. And last year we learned all about alchemy, which was your different fractal personalities, which was just your different traumatized selves acting as you, right, in different circumstances and different people. Kind of like how you feel about money. You might be, not confident, but then in a room full of people, you are confident. That's shape-shifting. You are a fractal consciousness. And that's why you're like, wow, why can't I have this confidence over here? Well, you've got trauma over here. Okay. So last year we unpacked all of the alchemies, all of me. And we got to know the different personalities. We got to know the different identities behind each aspect of trauma. And that was to accept, acknowledge, and create awareness, because you cannot move forward in your reality if you don't know, all of you. If you don't realize that person you hate down the street is you. If you don't, that the thing that disgusts you on TV, you push away and avoid is you. So you have to find those in your alchemies, because how someone behaves is not how someone feels. You're watching behavior of really heinous, horrible behavior in the world. But remember, behavior is just stepping out in a mood. The mood could be, I feel abandoned. And the behavior is then I'm going to abandon others. Okay. So the behavior shouldn't be judged, because underneath the behavior is a mood that first came from a vibration or emotion that was not processed. And before that came from a thought. And so there isn't anyone better or worse than you, even if they are demonstrating more negative behavior than you, because I will tell you, those that are very empathic and sensitive tend to keep their murderous serial killer ways to themselves. Those that are not as sensitive and empathic as us tend to demonstrate that outwardly. Are we better or worse? No, because the thing is we haven't tortured souls in our basement, but you have tortured yourself. You have tortured your inner child. You have tortured others in ways of manipulation, withholding, so you may feel better than those that are slaughtering thousands of people, but ultimately your mood could be the exact same. So in hindsight, last year, our movie metaphor was a movie called Split. And it was kind of a superhero-esque movie about DID, which is identity dissociation disorder, which is fractured consciousness. And it's not necessarily split personalities, because these were identities. Okay, these were identities that were having full-blown life experience in the same body, but looking and behaving completely different from each other. So I think this guy had like 25 different identities. His origin personality was the inner child, Kevin. And what he would do is he was very abused by his mother. And so in order to keep his mind safe, he projected personality identifications of himself around. He built his own family around him to protect him. Okay, he built the mother figure, but she was very, OCD and narcissistic. He's got the protector who's got weird sexual needs. Because the thing is these identities that we project out of our pain have a negative signature of the abuser itself. Okay, so this is why we become addicted to our abuser. Like I might, be abused child, and I might go save the world because I know what it feels like to be a hurt child. But secretly, I might be cutting myself, because ultimately, I'm going to take on the identity of my abuser in order to know thyself and then act and behave differently outside, but internally, I am the same. So it's like if you were a child and you witnessed the scariest thing that you could imagine, well, then that would get buried in your Google file. And then when you became an adult, if you need to scare someone away from you, you would pull from that file. This is why you act like your mother sometimes. You're like, when you really need to scare someone, you might pull your mother card, because that was the scariest thing you could feel. And so you were like, I'm going to save that in case I need to scare someone someday away from me. Okay. I'm telling you that the mind is not just conscious, subconscious. It is, especially when you live in hell, you have to figure out how to survive. And in this particular movie, this identity disorder kept morphing and morphing, because each one of the identities that he used to protect him needed protection. And so ultimately what he did was he created the 25th, which he called the beast. And because he lived underground of a zoo, he studied all of the behavior of all the animals and then meditated on it. And through epigenetics of his own cocoon, morphed into a superhuman, crawled on walls like a gecko, right? Bulletproof skin, kind of like an elephant. And literally through epigenetics, when you create your own environment, your body morphs to the environment. And he created this 25th entity that was becoming superhuman. And that was going to protect Kevin. Okay, so I know I've made all my students watch this last year. It's very dark. It's not a feel-good movie, but if you look at it like a scientist, you will have profound awareness within yourself, because you will see yourself here. You will see the different identities you created. You will see the different patterns. The only difference between his character and you is that he changed his clothes and his voice during character changes. You don't. You leave your house, one, and go to the bank as the other. Okay. You get around your friends as one, and then when you get drunk, you're another. So you have to understand that when we judge other people's behavior, they are in an environment that requires a different identity. You ever seen someone who's like a show off around people, but then around you, they're super nice. Like, why are you showing off? That's what they do to survive in that moment. Remember, the human does not just need a roof over their head and food. They need to be seen. They need to be heard. They need to be felt. They need to be loved. They need to be, like allowed. And so when these things are not happening organically your first 7 years, you will project yourself into different realities. And we're using imagination of consciousness for all of it. Every bit of it. You're using an imagination to create all these different identities that you spend enough time with that your body morphs into. Your voice changes. What bothers you most about your partner? Not his words, not their words, the tone. The tone signifies the character change. Don't talk to me in that tone, right? Don't talk to me like I'm a child, okay? Because your partner happens to be downloaded with the exact tone that is going to challenge you, because we're all connected. And we're all trauma bonding until we are completely free. Okay, everyone is bonded through trauma until you are completely integrated, because that trauma response or the trauma bonding helps you see your wounding. It helps you see where you are self-sacrificing or self-abusing, or, because you don't see your character changes. And it's interesting when someone calls you out about a character change, usually you get triggered. No, I don't. I don't act different. Right? You sound like your mom right now. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. You know what I mean? And it's kind of it's an awareness that most of us don't like until we start doing a lot of shadow work. And then once you do shadow work, you're like, oh my gosh, I became my mother to protect myself in my relationship. I protected my dad because it's just not worth it. He's passive. I became, this teacher. I became this actor. I became, whoever you've studied as a child, because children know that pretending creates reality. Children know that intuitively. They don't need to be taught. Just like they don't need to be taught how to dance or how to sing. Doesn't mean they're good at it, but they know the body already knows how to do it. Just like pretending. And so because the body doesn't know what's real and not and unreal, and it cannot see outside of you, and it cannot see anyone around you, everything that you do is you. So when you walk into a different room and it feels different, the body prepares for the new actor. Oh, this is where we're really rigid. Oh, this is where we have social anxiety. Oh, this is where we're angry. And you don't even know. You think that the person in the room is triggering the anger. The energy is the tuning fork that awakens that particular beast within you, because no one has power over you at all. There could be a whole person with a knife standing in a room, and if you don't have any script for it, you would probably be like, are you okay? Right? Do you want to cut something? Like, it wouldn't even be like a dangerous experience within you, especially if you weren't connected to the world's mind. Because not only are you in your reality, but the more you are like the others, the more entangled into the world's mind you become. All right. So tomorrow in our spiritual prosperity webinar, those of you who are doing the embodiment work, I am going to give you guys the time travel to change your money story, because it's a specific age. And it's a specific way that you actually go in and change the identity of your 5-year-old. Okay, so age 5 represents self-love. Numerology, 5 means choice, change, chaos. You need all 3 in order to change your reality. Your money story was imprinted into your cellular memory by age 5. It is also the first year you went to kindergarten, if you were in this kind of collective realm, and that's also where you downloaded your time wound. Lack of freedom occurred at age 5. So the money and freedom, that's why it's all entangled. And when I teach money, you have to understand that love and money are the exact same frequency. So what I want to give you guys is just a time travel modality that you can use on anything, not just money or health or relationships, but we all have that Achilles heel. Okay. And the Achilles heel or the kryptonite is the thing that you've wanted longer than anything that you still don't have. Okay. And that is where your child was unable to share. If you change the word desire with share, it would make a lot more sense, because desire means that you don't have it. Share means you have it, right? Or someone else has it and either won't give it to you, or you can't give what you have to someone else. That resonates more to your spirit than anything else, because the inner child love language is touch and share. Touch, am I real? Is this real? This is why children want to touch you when they don't feel safe. They need that connection, and they want to share, and they want to be shared with. That's it. Desire doesn't exist because they still believe everything is theirs. They just want to demonstrate it. They just want to enjoy it. They just want to play with it. They just want to have it. But they believe it's already theirs, so they don't have a desire for it. They have a knowing of it. They have a remembrance of it. So all of our childhood emotional trauma comes from not being shared with or not being able to share. That's it. That, as far as emotion goes. Now, if you get hit by a car, that's going to be a physical trauma. Okay, that's going to show up in your body a little bit uniquely, but I guarantee before the car accident, there was an emotional trauma that forced a lot of energy for you to have that car accident, because action is after energy and matter is just the byproduct of thought. So you can't change physical reality in physical reality because it's already solid. Remember, it's ice. We've got to take it back to water if we want to change the shape of it. And the shape of it is going to be in the psychic world where your imagination is. All right. Like spirit is creation, psychic energy is imagination, and matter, mental world, is what is created from those two planes. So in your psychic world where your soul resides, that's where the imprints of all of your trauma are. That's what we've been talking weeks after weeks after weeks. Your trauma creates the program. All right. And the program is literally like perfect for the metaphor of the movie of this year. Okay. Earth is hell until we make it heaven. All right. And the way that we're going to change it all and make it heaven is inside of our bodies, not by, killing the corporations and, changing the money, because that won't change the imprint, because we are generating that reality outside of us, and enough of us are doing the same thing that we actually have a system. So if enough of us generate a different system that is safe for me to share and be shared with, why would we need that? Like, why would we need this system? Okay, you're looking at all these unmet desires and there's so much trauma there. But if you look at, well, let's just go to a system where I share with you and you share with me. Hello, that's barter. Okay. Now, are we going to get to that place completely? We're going to have a few changes before we get back to that energetic place that we were in Atlantis, but we will get there. Promise. But it has to happen within. And the beautiful part of it is it's free. You don't need anything to do what I'm going to teach you guys how to do, except a little bit of time and a little bit of space, because you need the time to open up your awareness and remember, and you need the space in order to create the experience and to feel safe in that area. Okay, so I really recommend that you guys do this time travel when you are not going to be bothered. All right, you want to be in your highest plane of imagination. You want to be able to access the psychic world and the spirit world in your imagination, which means that if your mental world is not grounded or safe, you won't be able to do this properly. Dogs barking, phones ringing, people needing you. You can't have one foot in and one foot out of this. All right. You need to be able to totally let go of your mental reality, of your physical reality, and know that you are safe where you are while you go into this space of time travel. Because in time travel, you're going into a different parallel reality, and you're going to be traveling this time with co-pilots and co-passengers. So you're going to need a lot of your focus here. It's not just like it's not like hearing a song and going back to junior high. You're physically going to go there in your imagination. So what we want to do is, and here's how I've made this, the dumbness down as easy as I can, because you can get really quantum here, but you don't need to. When we're doing time travel, we want to keep it very childlike, because when you are in that spirit space, you are very childlike. That's the area of the nonsense. Infinite possibilities is nonsense. It makes no sense until it makes sense. Okay, you got to lose your senses. You got to lose your mind to come to your senses. You see, so when you get into that spirit space, that's when all possibilities are there. That's where all memories are. And the Akashic records exists between the psychic plane and the spirit plane. And the Akashic records is all of your memories. It's all of your data files. It's you as if you were at Google. Okay, like everything that ever was, that ever is, and ever will be is in your Akash. Okay, now when you give free will to your negative energy, you also give free reign to negative spirit to look at your Akash. This is how psychics know about you, that are telling you, oh, that's a lawsuit next year. Don't show me that parallel reality. Show me the one I win the lottery. They don't want to show you that one, because fear, right, gets you to pay more. Okay, so you have to understand that your best work here is to start feeling really safe and grounded in your cocoon, meaning you got 25 minutes while your kids are at the grocery store with your husband. Set your alarm for 25 minutes and do it. Complete non-distractions, no distractions. Okay, wake up an hour earlier in the morning, right? Go rent a cabin for the weekend. You are worth it, whatever it takes. But you will still be distracted by ego in the beginning, because the psychic world controls the mental world. And the phone will ring and your leg will itch and things will happen in the beginning, but you stick with it and you keep going and you don't give up. So the idea of time travel is to recognize that there are certain aspects of us that are still locked in pain somewhere on our timeline. Now, in this linear expression, your timeline is your age, right? However old you are, you can take a step back in time and go back to as early as your birth. And some of you who are spent time in lucid spaces can also, go past that. But we want to just stay in the box of this time and space of you in this incarnation with your first name. Okay, because this is the first name, which is this story. All right, this reality that we want to clean up. We want to edit, we want to change, we want to delete, we want to add. It's all possibilities here. When you try to do your Imagineering work right here and right now, you're going to need to have a strong hold over your mind, because you're saying, this is who I am. And you got maybe 15 other aspects going, no, you're not. And so you are going to have all of your grounded attention on your I am until every one of those 15, 20 fractals finally gives up and integrates in. Or you can take that love of the I am and go find them. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go find them. So how do we find them? I don't need you to recall your childhood. All right. Some of you, oh, I don't remember my childhood. I don't care. That does not matter. You do remember your losses. You do remember your failures. You do miss what you have had to give up, what you had to move away from, what abandoned you and rejected you. And so we're going to start there. So you make a list, and you can do this in your non-meditation time, because this is logic, right? And you can start today and you can work backwards. And all you do is you write, like losses, like when you lost your puppy, when you lost your best friend, moved away from her, when your dad left, when you broke your arm and lost the ability to play soccer, loss on any level equals death in the spirit world because it creates a disconnection. Like if I lost a signal right now when I'm talking to someone, they might as well be dead to me because I can't talk to them. So the loss creates the loss of signal to source energy. And this is why some of you are trying to get your authority back right now, and you're feeling really weak and tired because a lot of your source energy is basically stuck in time, vibrating around these losses because they're not dead, but they're not alive. They're stuck. Just like in addiction specialists will tell you that, like an alcoholic, as soon as they start drinking heavily, they freeze that age, right? They don't mature past that particular age. Well, in our case, since we are multidimensional beings, we stay stuck at that age, but we have to survive. And so the part of us that's left, we build it bigger and we move on. Okay. And so we can have a really big life that's on the surface, because anyone who has a big life on the surface and starts wanting, generational wealth or true healing that lasts forever or true vitality, the surface starts to disappear, the riches start to disappear, and the lack starts to show back up, because you might have gotten projected an image of yourself bigger to hide the parts of you that you've lost, but ultimately you are responsible for all of you, which is alchemy. And when you have all of you, then you have all of your source energy, and then you can really create your reality, because all of you have one mind, one heart, one soul, one thought, one feeling, one emotion, instead of having this thought and this thought and this thought and this emotion and this emotion, because they're all still thinking, they're all still feeling. This is why when you get something that you really love, you're terrified to lose it. It's not you, it's her. She's like, you're going to lose that. She's speaking from the beyond to you. Don't get too attached to that. I'm sitting here at 5 years old and lost my favorite blankie. Good luck with that, boyfriend, right? Like, this is how it works. And so we did a lot of this work last year, getting ready for this ego integration. And the movie that symbolizes this year, and if you guys haven't seen it, don't watch it because it will give you nightmares, but it is Shawshank Redemption. And the movie is crazy because it's about a guy who gets accused of killing his wife and goes to jail for life. Remember what I said? Original sin. We're accused, we're guilty, right? By association, right? And because he had so much talent inside of prison, the warden saw him as an asset. Light workers, okay, inside of prison, saw him as an asset. So every time he would rise up and level up and try to take his power back, what would happen to him? He would go in the hole for a month, not eat. And every time he would rise up, I'd be like, this isn't fair. Every time he tried to help someone outside, he'd be punished. Sound familiar? Okay. Until he decided to get really quiet, which is what you guys are going to be doing now. Getting really quiet, not caring how long it took, every day, studying the system, deciding what he wanted, pulling the maps out of where he was going, and began to chisel. Took him like, 25 years, it said, a way out. Okay, now this is a metaphor, obviously, but not only did he set himself up to collapse the system when he left, but he also freed his best friend with a roadmap. Okay, and so if you look at this metaphor, he did not move to victory complaining. He did not get his needs met shouting at the warden. Okay, he did not get rewarded defending a friend or healing a buddy. He was rewarded when he got really quiet and he beat the system. So be still and know that I am God is this moment. And when you are doing time travel, you are in this stillness. Your body is being held in this time-space reality, and you are creating a way out. And the way out is within. Okay, so you don't have to actually burrow through jail walls. All right, you don't have to do that, but you do have to go find yourself. Where is she? Where is he? There is some part of me stuck in time vibrating a lack that is keeping my money in a drought. And this is why when you start really affirming, I am, you might as well be yelling at the warden. Because this is where all hell breaks loose and you're punished because you're going to tell other people that they are I am. Stop saying I am. You are heard in the lucid space of the psychic energy when you start shouting I am, and all of those lack particles that are connected to your consciousness are like, be quiet, the warden is going to see us. And then something bad manifests. And then you're like, this I am stuff is not working. Are you guys getting this? Yes? Okay. So how to time travel. Some of you guys have been time traveling for years with me, but it's not really changed except the formula, because we're integrating it for a full Christed experience. We want to get every piece of us back that ever was left to believe that they were not God. We've got to go find all of them. Now, this is not going to take as long as you think it's going to take, but even if it took you guys 2 months to find every one of them in 5-minute sessions every couple of days, you're shaving 10 years off your journey here, guaranteed. Because the way you're going to find these fractals, if you don't time travel, is that you will meet them in your present moment as an event, as a situation, as another person disguised as you. Okay? Because these pieces have been left behind and they are stuck in a loss, a failure, a trauma, an abandonment, and a rejection or humiliation. And they don't know why they are still there. Okay? So, but they are still connected to you. So they still think through you. They still feel through you. And this is why when you're trying to feel good, sometimes you feel bad. And sometimes you can't manifest good because you've got 15 other fractals all running a loss program while you're trying to generate an I am with it. So it's almost like, for me, I have 4 children. I am responsible for all 4 of their well-being if I want to move forward, which means I can't just be like, oh, kids, I'm going to drop everything and go move in with my boyfriend 4 hours away. Like, no, like I wouldn't do that. But we have done that to ourselves, right? Like, screw that heartbreak. I'm over it. A lot of the griefs we didn't even experience because we didn't have time. It wasn't safe. No one was there to support us. We couldn't share safely. So we just, okay, swallowed it whole and thought we were moving forward. But see, the thing is you will always return back to the moment you lost source energy. When was it? How was it? I guaranteed you lost your true ability to create your reality through choice. You're still creating your reality through unchoice or other people's choices by age 5. Now, we talk about the 7-year cycle. 7 years is when it becomes solid matter. This is who you are. So you have those 2 years of wiggle room where you're still trying to kind of fight for your sovereign citizenship. And by 7, you usually just like, uncle, let go, wave the white flag. Okay, what do you want me to be? Or I hate this, I'm going to throw a tantrum for the next 20 years. You know, so either way you showed up, it doesn't really matter. But now what we want to do is we want to make a list of everything you've lost. I don't care if it's your watch at 4th grade. You know, a cookie to a child is the equivalent of your car. So don't minimize loss here. If you, and here's the command that you use. Take me to my loss. That's it. That's a quantum hypnosis. And when you say that, it immediately takes you back in time, right? Take me back to where I failed. Take me back to where I was failed. Take me to anything you've lost. Take me to where I've lost time. Take me to where I've lost money. Take me to where I lost peace. Take me to where I lost safety. Take me to where I lost freedom. Okay. Now, if you can't figure out a year, don't worry about it because children don't care about time. You can kind of like you're going to have to get to know her a little bit or him. And so there's going to be like some observing that you're going to do once you finally get to that space. It's not just like, oh, there she is, let's grab her. Okay. You're not going to do that because the thing is she doesn't know you exist because you abandoned her. She doesn't know you drive the car you drive. She doesn't know you're married to this amazing person. She doesn't know that you have kids. She doesn't know that you help other people. All she knows is that she's 5 years old. She has to go to school. Okay. And she, mom's gone, dad's gone, whatever. She's being abused. I mean, this is usually when molestation starts to happen because, you start to get cute. And all these things start to happen in this little 4 to 5 to 6-year-old. Night fears usually start at age 4. Age 5 is where the tantrums around time. When are we going to be there? Where is it? What is it? Why do I have to go? And the witness of your ability to share. And in our world, sharing equals money. You share love by cooking a meal. You share love by buying a gift. You share love by, dressing yourself up. This is where the money wound comes from, is in the share wound. All right. And it's really hot and heavy at age 5. So when we do the spiritual prosperity one, I'm going to take you to the exact money time travel to change your money signature at age 5. And there's also a hypnosis that I will give you guys, or you'll create your own, but that's for tomorrow. This is for today. And this is like for everything. This is like full spectrum time travel. All right. So what this is said and done is, once you have actually in your non-meditative states, you're making your logical linear list. Okay. Ego loves this list, by the way. Oh, here's some more. Oh, here's some more. Ego loves your loss list, and it's going to be bigger than you thought. Now, some of them will have a charge and some of them won't. All right. Some of them will feel like you've worked through it. Some of them won't feel much at all. Some of them you're numb to and hurt more than others, but you won't feel it. Some of them will trigger what's happening right now in your now moment. You'll start to see similarities in what you're manifesting right now back in these losses. Okay. And this is where your awareness is going to just blossom, because we cannot heal if we do not accept and allow. So this is like an allowing process for you to say, okay, finally, I am in a good place with my higher self. I have done a lot of spiritual work. I can hold space for myself. I can be here for myself. And now let's go find the me's that can't. Okay. And you go looking for her or him or whatever. And I mean, you guys, I'm saying lost your puppy, lost your home, lost your favorite shirt, lost your grandfather, lost, I mean, as soon as you might lose your position in your childhood home because you have a sister born. So you lost your rank. Okay. You lost respect for your dad when you saw him do something. You lost your purity. You lost anything, because loss equals death in the psychic world. And that's where the negative psychic energy is in the death signatures or the loss signatures. Have you ever noticed that kids around age 5, they start having nightmares about losing their parents? They start having nightmares about people dying. Okay. Because they are losing their connection to source. Their spirit is saying you're losing. And so they start having nightmares about losing people. And I'm going to lose, wake up, I'm going to lose my parents, even though they're a jerk. Like you still wake up with this, like, and this will radiate till about 9 or 10 years old. You'll have these dreams because you're slowly but surely losing your connection to source energy, and you're being taught how to tap into the physical world for your loves, your needs, your foods, your walls, all of those things. And so you become very codependent on the mental world when you lose that connection. So after you get your list made, you're going to get in a really comfortable, safe, quiet, alone space. No construction workers outside drilling. I mean, of course, they're going to show up on the day you want to do this because that's Murphy's Law, right? But, go and put your earmuffs on, and you can use what I like to use, and I will put one that I use in the queue. It's just one on YouTube. It's like 2 hours. It's Theta Alpha, and it has a water background, like a movement. You will find yourself in the womb at times, weirdly. So it's also a good place once you come out of, when we have the death of the ego or the integration, you're going to start in the womb, but you're going to start in the womb of your body, of your creation. You're going to be the mother who delivers this child, and then you are going to be the programmer. So that's next week. I'll teach you how to deliver yourself. But this week, we're going to teach you how to go and right all of these wrongs that are vibrating a frequency of lack, death, loss, failure, guilt, shame. Okay. All those things that are vibrating while you're trying to vibrate this new I am and this new threshold of the stronghold that you have over your mind right now. Okay. All right. So once you get your command, take me to my fill in the blank. You can read right from your list. Some things you'll know right away. You'll know how old you are. You'll know what you were wearing. Some things you'll have to sit and recall. Okay. This is where I want you to get very still and very patient, like a mother trying to understand a blubbering child or a sick child that can't speak. Because this connection has been disembodied for a very long time and on purpose so you could survive. And so when you try to make this connection, sometimes it takes a while. Like this morning, I went to age 5, where the scene of a lot of my trauma seemed like the 4, 5, and 6 were really the years that broke me. Like, you know, where the years I still had a little fight in me and I still was asserting myself and I was still asking and I was still hiding and manipulating before you're just like, I give up. You know, those were the years where I was really kind of going against the matrix with my need to share. Okay. Like I was going against it. And that's why right now I'm going against it and I'm a vibrational match to her, because that's the last time I really did this. You see? So you might think that you've never really been in the matrix, but you have been, right? This is where you lost yourself right here, where you were like, no, I'm not going in it. That's where you lost yourself, because ultimately the mental world, Shawshank, was like, you're going in the hole for 2 weeks, right? So you learned your lesson not to speak up or whatever you did. And now not all of you had this childhood that I'm talking about, but you all had your power stripped or you wouldn't be listening to me right now. Okay. You'd already be in your Christhood on some mountaintop or owning a big house on the beach. If you're listening to me, something in your childhood froze you from taking true ownership of your I am right now. So we're all in this together. Ultimately, what you're going to do is you're going to say, take me to in the stillness, and you're going to just gentle breathe, gentle breathe, gentle breathe. If making contact with your own body is really awesome. Like if you can put one of your hands on your heart or hold yourself, it's symbolic of touch. All right. Now, once you move into a memory, it might be blurry. You might not know what's going on around a lot of it, depending on the level of trauma that was occurring right there, or the loss that had just occurred, or, you know, the funeral that you're at. What I want you to do is back up from it a little bit, because you'll be able to see it and just look at it as an observer. All right. Like watch the story playing out. Okay. And it's really like symbolic of that movie, like Scrooge, where they went to Ghost of Christmas Past, Christmas Future, Christmas Present, right? Like that's what you're doing. You're going to go watch yourself. All right. You're going to go watch what was happening or watch what was unfolding. And sometimes the trauma, you were unconscious, so you'll notice the moment right after. That's fine. You don't have to go into the unconscious moment. Who you became right after is the identity that we need to shift anyways. So who you had to become because of the trauma is the identity that we have to shift. So it doesn't matter if it's right afterwards. Okay. I took myself this morning to a 5-year-old moment where, of course, we were in a haunted house because it was cheap. And it was an old, we moved into this old like girls' schoolhouse that used to be like a girls, and it burned down and all these girls died in it. And of course it was a really cheap big house that my mom and stepdad moved us in, and the doors were all numbered. And, you know, me being like connected to the psychic world, of course, they're all after me. And so I would hide in my closet, and my mom was in some new cult every week. And so she would get these books from the cult. And those were the toys that I had. There was no toys. So I would get these books and I would pretend I was a teacher, and I would play with these books and pretend I could read. And I was going to start kindergarten that year. And I was terrified of school because they beat kids at this school. I mean, this was olden days. Like they'd smack you you had to take a school bus. And so what I would do is I would wait for my parents to put me into bed. Of course, I had to go in a dark room, and I would put my ear against the door so I could hear their TV. And then like that made me feel safe that they were awake, even though it was just muffled. And I would fall asleep right there. And then before like I would get this, something would wake me up in the morning, and I would go hide in my closet. And I burrowed like this hole in the closet with my little books that were my toys. And I would hope that they wouldn't wake me up to go to school. Like I would hide. And sometimes my mom would just be like, I couldn't find you. We didn't go to school today. I was like, yes, like it was horrible. So when I'm watching this, I just had all this compassion for her. It was just like her time, her freedom, her abundance, her home, her parents, everything was just not within her control. She couldn't share, nothing was shared with her. And it was just this really pretty much what I felt like this last year. And as I got closer to her, I started getting this extreme pain in my bladder. And I realized that I had chronic bladder infections, like from like 2 to like 9 years old, but we didn't have insurance. And so mom said it was up here. So I needed to make it go way up here, which I did. Because, you just believe what your mom says. And so we never went to the doctor. And I would will it gone after the pain would be so intense. But in that particular moment, I was dealing with that. And so I got to feel what she was feeling. And it was emotional. Like I'm still processing it. And so the way that we're going to, I'm going to get my notes out so I don't give it to you half-assed here. There's going to be specific things that we're going to say, because remember, words are spells. And here we go. Where's the commands? All right. Okay, so it's going to be based on the soul wounding. I see, I hear, I feel, you're safe, I love you. Okay, that's going to be based on it. When you see her or him, depending on who's doing this, and as you get closer, I want you to just softly breathe, because what this will do is it will allow you to feel what she is feeling through your breath, because your breath is going to be that telekinesis type of movement in and out, and also telepathic. Feel. And if you can't feel for some reason, imagine what she would be feeling, because sometimes you have removed yourself from your feeling state to stay safe. So imagine, would she be scared? Would she be alone? Like, what would she be feeling? Feel into that and feel what she's feeling. That's true compassion. All right. Now, once you actually feel what she's feeling or what he's feeling, take a breath, right? And you can speak either out loud or in your mind. It doesn't matter. You're all connected here. And what you're going to do is you're going to say the words, I see you. I see you. That's the first one. Second, I feel what you're feeling. Three, I am here to take you home. I am here to make you feel safe. I love you and I'm proud of you. And I hope that you don't rush this. I hope that you give yourself the opportunity to really feel that integration. Now, what I do is I imagine that she accepts, right? Like she trusts me, she recognizes. As soon as she realizes I'm feeling what she feels safe, right? She feels like seen, heard, like I haven't been sitting here for 20, 30, 40 years, like just alone. And where the safest place for her to be is in your heart. All right. So what I imagine is that I hug her into my heart and she disappears in there. Like that's where I'm going to keep her. You can do it with breath. You can do it in imagination. You can do it with your hands. You can do a hug, but you want to imagine the sensation of him returning into you, and then taking a deep breath and letting her settle in before you come out. Okay, you do not have to take steps to come out of this because it's all happening now. And I would give yourself a break between jumping worlds, like not like, okay, I got to go find another one. That's your time wound. Don't, right? Like really allow this integration. Like walk around with her all day. Show her your home. She'll be like, whoa, like let her see how you live. And if you're not enjoying the way you live right now, take her into one of your Imagineering sessions and show her the real you and the real her. Okay, take her into one of those blissed out Imagineering sessions, like literally take her with you and imagine that she's with you, safe inside where no one can see her or hurt her or him, but she gets to go. Because like the things that you have created were a lot of the things that she wanted. A lot of the things that you have right now were her desire to share herself, and you finally have. But because she's in a loss, someone who's experiencing a loss cannot see what is in front of them. All they can see is that they have more to lose, because loss is an identity. All right. So I recommend that you go into the loss identities first, then maybe the failures where you felt guilt or shame around something, because your losses are your greatest separators. Losses. And it doesn't mean like you lost. Sometimes it's like someone lost you, right? Or, it can be any loss, any perception of reality. Loss is loss. And that's it. And spend time. Like each of my sessions lasts probably about 5 minutes. I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but because it's all imagination, it's like once you actually make the connection and the integration happens, it's like you don't need to spend a lot of time. Now, if your imagination is really difficult right now, that's why I'm saying use the music, because that will help your brain waves stay in that imaginative state in a higher level of consciousness. Okay, so theta alpha, like there's a fine line between those two. That's like the perfect place to be. And you can have music with it. Don't have words attached. That's why I just found like a random one on YouTube that I use. Danny, I know Danny will probably create a meditation with this, which I hope for you guys to be able to follow. But I like the intuitive journey here. Like you have the steps, but I don't want you to follow my time travel. I want you to have the steps and then be able to change it up and move it around and, go side to side if you need to. But staying with one version of yourself, you could time travel last week if you wanted to. It's not just your childhood, but I will tell you that most of what's happened over the last 20 years took place your first 7. And you're just recreating it. And now that you're saying, no, I don't want to be attached to the matrix anymore. I want to be a sovereign being. I want to have my Christ conscious abilities. I want to be superhuman. Well, then you have to take responsibility for all of the pieces that are bleeding your energy out, because these losses, these identities are siphoning your energy because they are you. We have to take responsibility for all of us. All right. And in that movie Shawshank, what he realized is that he was still going to get free, but no one was going to believe him. No one was going to help him. If he was going to do it, he was going to prove it within himself. And then he was going to break the system through his escape. And by you bringing in all your fractals and you time traveling all your pieces, you are creating such a big field. So let's say you have 8 losses that you collect over the next couple of weeks. You've increased your source energy ability to create, love, share, generate energy 80%. Imagine if you could get 80% of your power back, what would you do with it? Okay, so this works, you guys, because this is not linear time-space reality. You are a multidimensional being having a multidimensional experience, and you are multifractal consciousness until you become one. When thy eye be single, the body will be full of light. That's scripture. Which means when you have one focus, when you are looking at one master, one God, one potential, one outcome, not, well, this could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen, this could happen. Because as long as you have losses vibrating, they're near dead energy, and they are being squatted by all kinds of parasitic energies. But at any time, you can go back with love as your ammunition, your attention. I see you. I hear you. You're safe. I love you. Right? It's time to come home. You're not just going there giving them a gift and being like, I have a cool life. See ya. You're bringing them with you so they can go and be a part of your life. And then you walk around, you're like, we created, you know, if it weren't for you, we'd have more money right now. But now that you're home, the money can come back, right? Because again, as they come back in, then their loss changes to love, and love is money. It's the same frequency. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this today, because I'm really grateful that I get to teach it to you. I want everybody that is like ready to end this past story, this script, these identities. They have to be loved and accepted. They are not to be killed. See, the ego is just the warden. The ego is just a Shawshank warden that is stuffing the inner child down, but it's thinking that it's protecting you when it's actually serving its own needs, which is to survive, just like a parasite. And ultimately, we don't want to kill it. We want to reform it. We're not, the warden isn't going to blow its brains out in our movie. We're going to reform it, because our words are powerful. Our feelings are powerful. Our moods are powerful. And no matter how powerful the ego feels or can manipulate time and space, your awareness and your intention and your desire to share with the world who and what you are and be shared with is bigger than any ego. All right. So you just got to get quiet, and you got to bring yourself back together. All right. First thing that he did in that movie is he proved that he was innocent. Did you know that? He found the killer from jail, the real one. So it's like he cleared his name before he escaped. And that's what we have to do, is we have to clear our name in the psychic reality. Because the only thing that can ever be used against you is your past and your character when you were being unconscious. That's it. That's the only thing that can ever be used against you. So that's the story. So if you clear your story with your own vibration, then you are setting yourself free. Okay? All right, guys, that's all I have time for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you spend time with this. And I hope you take this to heart and give yourself the experience you deserve. And even if you just did one of these every couple of days, you would see within a 3-day aftermath of this, your life improving, your health improving, your money improving, your spirits improving, your joy improving, your memories improving, and not so many fearful, lostful thoughts would come when you're doing your IMs. Okay? All right, guys. Love you. See you soon. Bye.